thank you very much, Emma. Good afternoon, everybody. What a weekend this promises to be. Scotland's 4 most successful teams all competing at Hampden Park over 2 games for the right to continue to fight for Scottish Cup glory come May the 25th. And today, an historic battle that has seen so many memorable moments in the past, that has delivered great joy for their supporters. And this afternoon, another chapter in this grand old fixture will be written. Aberdeen meet Celtic for the 8th time in a Scottish Cup semi-final. The second most regular fixture at this stage of the competition. And the players will emerge to a sea of green and white, because the Celtic support outnumber those that have made the journey down from Aberdeen quite significantly. 8,000 Aberdeen supporters, and they will make their voices heard. They will have to. Brendan Rodgers looking to protect his perfect record here and in this competition. 2 times winner of the Scottish Cup. Callum McGregor back for Celtic at the significant point of the season. And there's Peter Leven at the opposite end of the experience scale in management, in interim charge until the end of the season, before Jimmy Tilley arrives at Pittodrie from Elfsborg. There's Don Robertson, the man who will be in charge with the whistle for this first Scottish Cup semi-final at Hampden Park. And the big miss for Peter Leven is club captain Graham Shinnie, who's suspended. American Dante Polvara replaces him in midfield, while Angus MacDonald takes over the captain's armband. It's a young but talented trio in the middle of the park, completed by Conor Barron and Leighton Clarkson. Duke and Jamie McGrath will look to provide for top scorer Bojan Miovski, who has 23 goals to his name this season. Brendan Rodgers changes 2 players from the starting 11 that defeated St Mirren last weekend. Liam Scales was an Aberdeen player last season on loan, and he comes into the defence to replace Mike Nawrocki. Significantly though, captain Callum McGregor also returns to lead the side in place of Tomoki Iwata. Joe Hart turned 37 yesterday. The experienced goalkeeper will be retiring at the end of the season. And Kyogo Furuhashi leads the line. He is Celtic's Hampden Park specialist, having scored in each of his last 3 semi-finals. There's Don Robertson. Big afternoon for him. Huge afternoon for Aberdeen and Celtic. And there is the famous Hampden roar. Celtic serial winners, and after a few blips over the campaign, they are looking back to their best. This is the time of the season that they tend to separate themselves from the rest, but Aberdeen have that man, Bojan Miovski. And while they have been embroiled in a season of turmoil, there have been signs of recovery of late under Peter Leven, and positivity to come with the announcement of a new manager. It is all perfectly set up in the Hampden sunshine on the south side of Glasgow for a right to contest the Scottish Cup final on May the 25th. It's the first semi-final to be followed by Hart and Lothian and Rangers tomorrow afternoon. It's knocked away by Angus MacDonald and Leighton Clarkson, looking early to try and get Bojan Miovski in behind that Celtic rear guard. He of course had the significant moment in the League Cup semi-final against Hibernian, scoring the winner. No way past Greg Taylor on this occasion. Mr. Johnston set out to Nicholas Kühn, who gets the starting berth on the right-hand side. Yang on the left for Celtic, and Kyogo Furuhashi through the middle, and he drops short to pick up. Hatate looks to play the 1-2 with his fellow countryman, but it comes all the way through to Kelly Roos. Well, it's a noisy Hampden Park, Michael Stewart, as we would expect, and what an afternoon at stake.
Absolutely wonderful setting. The weather's decided to turn and give us a little bit of sunshine as well, which just adds to what could be a wonderful day for either one of these teams here. Obviously talking about the game pre-match there, and everything that is riding on this for Aberdeen in regards to the disappointment of the campaign. They've made the announcement that new managers coming in, they know what's happening, there's a wee bit more certainty.
Here's Miovski, perfectly slipped in by Clarkson, and Miovski does it again at Hampden Park. It is the dream start for the Dons. 2 minutes in, Miovski sends the 8,000 Aberdeen fans delirious. They believed, Peter Leven believed, and Bojan Miovski delivers on the big stage again.
Well, what a dream start for the 8,000 Aberdeen fans, and that man, Bojan Miovski, it's a great goal, it really is. Too much space in that, in between the defence and the midfield there. Lovely ball from Clarkson. And I tell you, Joe Hart does ever so well to get out so quickly, but just not enough. And Miovski, when he's in that position, we said it before the game, even though he might not be in the best run of form, you still never doubt that man. He gets into the position, he shows the composure. He's got Joe Hart flinging himself right in front of him, and he still finds the back of the net. Game on.
Well, it was 1 goal in 11 games for Bojan Miovski before this afternoon. He scored 11 in the previous 12, but he comes alive on the big stage, and you have to wonder, where would Aberdeen's season be without the Macedonian striker?
It doesn't bear thinking, but do you know what? For Brendan Rodgers, that's what he's facing. A clinical finisher in Bojan Miovski, and for Aberdeen, they don't have to care about it because he's in the side, he's got his team 1-0 up, and sent the Red Army delirious with joy. I mean, what an absolute wonderful opening to the game for them. I think everybody recognising the importance of the game and how difficult it's going to be for Aberdeen. You look at it and you say, if they can get the first goal, it's going to help. They've scored early and give them a belief and confidence to try to settle into this side a little bit.
But Celtic will come straight back at them. Yang cutting onto the right foot, teeing that up for Johnston. Now Callum McGregor slotting straight back into that Celtic side. Tomoki Iwata had been doing pretty well in his absence, but once fit, McGregor was always going to come back in. Here's Kühn, and he gets a touch from Kelly Roos and knocked over by Yang at the back post. The first sighting of goal for Celtic.
Well, my initial reaction, Rory, is why does Roos not catch it? Kühn does well, doesn't do enough of this for me attacking the byline, but he does on this occasion, gets him behind. Just thinking, why is the keeper not catching that? It looks easy enough. Yang mistimes the header a little bit and drifts over the crossbar, but the interesting thing for me now is this is a changed Celtic side from, you know, a few months ago. They have the bit between their teeth again, and you expect now a positive reaction. Now the challenge is go and do it, and are Aberdeen going to be able to handle that reaction? It really is, I think, for the neutral, it's a wonderful opening to the game.
Now, this was perhaps a Celtic side that maybe back in December looked extremely vulnerable to situations like this. We will see how they will react now, because it's a heavy challenge by Miovski on Liam Scales, two former teammates, and the Irishman gets straight back to his feet when I think a few more were maybe looking for a bit more drama there.
I like that. That's good. You know, Miovski clearly was apologetic. It was a mistimed tackle. Liam Scales wasn't making any more of it.
Johnston looking for Kühn, and it comes off the German last, defended well by Jack MacKenzie. This is an Aberdeen side that have won twice in Glasgow already this season, once at Hampden Park against Hibernian, once at Ibrox as well, against Rangers in the league.
You know, when you just looking back at the goal though, the little bit of the concern for Celtic was that space in front of the back line for Clarkson to drop in. They can't allow that to happen because you see he's got the quality. The slide rule pass perfectly weighted for Miovski in behind Carter-Vickers.
Well, I think when we first saw that Aberdeen lineup, we all looked at each other and thought, that is very attacking. Three very good creative players behind Miovski.
Yep.
Peter Leven has certainly looked to take this game to Celtic.
Yeah, he has. Throw caution in the wind, and Dante Polvara has got really good legs as well, so as much as he's sitting in midfield, he's somebody that you would expect is going to get forward as well when the game allows it to happen. So yeah, three attacking players in behind the lethal marksman of Miovski, with Polvara, the energy in the legs that he's got.
There's Kühn for Johnston, who got a couple of assists last weekend against St Mirren. That one comes off the Canadian last and out for the goal kick. Miovski is a goal every other game this season. Appearance number 48, that goal number 24, fourth in the Scottish Cup this season as well. And we said, even though outnumbered, Aberdeen supporters would make their voices heard, but even they may not have dreamt of this as a start. Ahead inside 2 minutes. And they're determined not to have regrets from this trip to Hampden Park, when in the League Cup final earlier on this season they really didn't show their best against Rangers. Still ran them close, but never really laid a glove on Philippe Clement's side. Now Miovski's on the chase again here behind Carter-Vickers. Was he pulled down? Peter Leven turns to fourth official David Dickinson and asks the question. It has been cleared by VAR as Matt O'Reilly slides in and concedes the free kick.
Well, it'll be interesting to see it again. One thing's for certain, it looked like a lovely first touch from Miovski. He's looked back at the initial, the foul that came afterwards. McGrath getting pulled down by O'Reilly. See this here, looked as if he brought it into his path. Lovely there. I mean, nothing there for me. So coming together, that happens all the time. Two players are challenging.
Flipped over the top, but what it is, Michael, is another sign of that threat that Miovski gives over the top.
Yeah, he does. I mean, look, I think you touched on it before, in big games he's done that so many occasions. In Aberdeen, I think sometimes they overplay it. They need to be set. You know, there's no point in just thumping balls over the top if there's not good controlled possession. But when they have, in big games, been able to set it up right, it's been a wonderful tool for them to use, wonderful weapon. And it's just a wee reminder for Celtic as well that they need to be cautious and mindful of the attack that Aberdeen possess.
There's Kühn, lovely slip ball in, looking for O'Reilly. Just skips off the surface, which is looking absolutely fantastic out there in the Glasgow sunshine this afternoon. Scales and Carter-Vickers back together as Celtic's first choice pairing at the heart of that defence. Wouldn't have started that way this season, with Gustav Lagerbielke and Mike Nawrocki both coming in on big transfer fees, but Liam Scales has made that position his own. And of course, it seemed to be that it was quite close that he would actually be heading up to the northeast and Pittodrie on a full-time deal. There's Kyogo to send that across and steered away by the Aberdeen captain Angus MacDonald. Taylor into Hatate. Scales under a bit of pressure, but he does get that back to Cameron Carter-Vickers.
You can hear the Celtic support a little bit disappointed there with Liam Scales. Kyogo made a lovely arc run getting in behind. He's now trying to play it.
And he's done it again, Kyogo. He has pulled off MacDonald, and then the stinging shot repelled by Kelly Roos.
I think Liam Scales is obviously aware of that as well, that the first time there was a great opportunity as well, loads of space to drop it over the top. Next attack he does it and Kyogo gets the strike away. He's constantly on the move, the Japanese striker. Never really standing still, allowing defenders to mark him and know where he is.
Back to Joe Hart. Will be retiring at the end of the season, hoping for the ideal send-off on May the 25th. There is an injury here to Nicholas Kühn, playing at Hampden Park for the first time. Signed from Rapid Vienna in January. But he's surrounded by so many players that know this place so well.
Yeah, he just gets caught there. You can see his nose is bleeding, a bit of a sore one. Jack MacKenzie going in and heading it, and he's caught Kühn. Sore one for the German.
Celtic unbeaten in their last 24 games against Aberdeen. We have to go back to May 2018 in the end of season game at Celtic Park when they were already champions, when Andy Considine got the winner for the Dons. Medical staff will just take their time with Nicholas Kühn, a 20-year-old German.
Yeah, it'll take a wee bit of time because there's a fair bit of blood pouring out his nose there, trying to stem the flow, and a wee bit of added time to this first half for this stoppage, no doubt. MacKenzie just flicking the ball away and eventually caught up.
Bojan Miovski, so often the difference maker.
It's a lovely pass from Clarkson, it really is. Picking the ball up in a dangerous area, straight away looking to go and penetrate the opposition.
24 goals for him, the most by an Aberdeen player since Adam Rooney in 2014-15. Peter Leven, who actually is in his second caretaker spell this season. He did the 1-1 draw against Celtic in February after Barry Robson was dismissed. And Nicholas Kühn will have to come off for further attention should Celtic need to make a change. They do have some quality in reserves. The likes of Lewis Palma and James Forrest could easily go out and do a job on that right wing. So Celtic will battle on with 10 for now. It's a long ball to pick out Duke. Miovski waits in the middle. McGrath at the back post. Clarkson coming in. Duke. And Scales knocks it out, but the flag does go up, a delayed offside.
You can see there, Leighton Clarkson's getting himself right on top of Cal McGregor, just making sure that there isn't space for him to pick that ball up at the base of the midfield and get it out the other side. And Miovski also trying to shut off the game and close half the pitch off.
Kyogo got half turned. Aberdeen snap in. Kyogo stays down, so Celtic actually playing with 9 for now. Kyogo hobbling back to his feet.
Did well there, Aberdeen, and they have done well so far in their system and their structure.
They are unbeaten in the last 4 games. That's their best run since October. And you have to say, after Barry Robson left and then Neil Warnock departed, tough task for Peter Leven to come in and just try and steady things, and he's done more than an impressive job.
Yeah, it was chaotic, it really was. But, I think just with finally making the announcement, and obviously Jimmy T. Lean's not coming in until June, but even just the announcement, a little bit of certainty will have helped the players just to calm down a little bit. And Peter Leven, likewise, is the job that he's done has helped just to take the heat out of what was certainly a troubling wee spell for Aberdeen. They're not out of trouble completely in the league. They need to still pick up some results, but this game here today, I mean, look, it's a season-defining game, really.
Leighton Clarkson looks for Duke, who was coming back from an offside position. There was a collision actually between Clarkson and Kyogo.
It was all a little bit bizarre. There were, you see Jim McGrath, I think he got caught with Kyogo's boot. He's not particularly happy, McGrath. He's saying that Kyogo had kicked him there. I don't know, but it was a bit of a bizarre free kick.
So here's Nicholas Kühn back on. The run provided by O'Reilly, and it comes off the Danish midfielder from Angus MacDonald's attempted clearance and out for a goal kick. Incidentally, Jimmy Tillene will be bringing his assistants, Christer Persson and Emir Bajrami, with him from Elfsborg when they have the mid-season break in Sweden. But Peter Leven will be retained as an assistant first-team coach.
That was good defending there from Angus MacDonald, and you know, there's a guy, he's captain in the side out in the Scottish Cup semi-final here at Hampden, and he's played a bit part this season, which very surprising for me. I think any time I've watched him when he came in last season, and certainly even the games that he's played here in this campaign, he's a calming influence on what has been a problem area for Aberdeen this season.
Oh, McDonald's in trouble here. The captain gives it up to Kyogo, and there it is for Kühn. And Celtic level things up. They weren't behind for long. Nicholas Kühn with the simple finish, but Aberdeen, architects of their own downfall there. MacDonald caught in possession. Gartenmann made up for it with a slide tackle on Kyogo, but the ball settled perfectly for Nicholas Kühn to knock in his 3rd goal for Celtic, 2 of which have come against Aberdeen.
Well, I think you can call that a commentator's curse, Rory. Terrible from Angus MacDonald. You can be calm and composed, but then you can just be lacklustre, and that is exactly what's happened there. Caught in possession, really should never have happened, and Kühn is on hand to get the rebound and stick it into the back of the net. But a real terrible moment for Angus MacDonald, and it's gifted Celtic a route back into the game. 1-1.
MacDonald this time finds the safety of Roos, so Aberdeen's very early advantage cancelled out by Kühn.
There was no pressure there. You know, there was plenty of time to take the touch, but just looked as if everything was far too slow from Angus MacDonald. Never got the ball at his feet properly, and then got it caught in possession by Kyogo, who we know, look, he moves so quickly, he can jump on top of you at times before you realise, but that was not one of those instances. It was just a poor bit of defending from the Aberdeen captain, and he'll know that himself. He has to put out his mind though now, because long time to go in this game. He can't afford any more mistakes.
McGrath loses out to O'Reilly. It comes back though to Barron and Leighton Clarkson. A couple of calming passes from him, and there is McGrath through for Miovski this time. Hart smartly off his line to get there ahead of the striker.
Oh, so close, was it not? Just almost an identical bit of play to the goal, just inches away from Miovski being able to get on the end of it, but Joe Hart very quick to react again as well. Lovely bit of interchange there from Aberdeen in the midfield area. Jamie McGrath just stepping in off the line and finding that pass in behind the Celtic defence.
Hatate. Johnston back to Carter-Vickers. Real Hatate back into his usual spot in the middle of the park for Celtic. It's an imposing trio of McGregor, O'Reilly and Hatate pulling the strings for Celtic. And Carter-Vickers to Celtic's goal scorer Nicholas Kühn, scored up at Pittodrie earlier on in his Celtic career. Kyogo can't quite get there. It was Nicky Devlin that steps in. Celtic beginning to take control here. Devlin again steps in, gets in front of Yang. And Duke can't quite protect it, surrounded by green and white jerseys. Devlin with some defensive work to do, and does it well.
Yeah, he does do it well, doesn't he? Gets his body in front of Yang, protecting the ball, and wins the free kick. Goes without saying he'll be hugely disappointed with the goal that they've conceded, but I think approaching the 25-minute mark, overall he's going to be happy with how Aberdeen have started this game. I think their general setup has been good.
Stefan Gartenmann. Duke was hoping for a free kick. Taylor's given it away to Barron in any case. Duke again. Clarkson's making a run through the middle of that Celtic defence. It is Leighton Clarkson, but only into the gloves of Joe Hart.
You know what I like about this performance so far from Aberdeen? They're looking to go and make things happen. They're not hoping for something to go their way. Barron snapping in, winning the ball. Clarkson running forward.
Here's Kühn. Celtic have numbers forward here. They've flooded the box, but the ball from the winger was behind them all. And here goes Duke. It is an open semi-final.
It's good. I mean, this is the sort of thing that I think people have been expecting from Aberdeen all season. You know, this type of performance.
We'll compare this to the League Cup final, even to the semi-final against Hibernian, when you talk about almost waiting, hoping that something might go your way. It did in the semi-final, it certainly didn't in the final.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're engaged in this game. You know, when I'm talking about Barron there was a turner over the ball, Brendan Rodgers side pick it up, but they're moving forward. They're not dropping back. They're moving forward to go and engage and try and win it back. They did. They're breaking. They've just got a bit of intent to their game and their performance, and it's making for a better spectacle here. The challenge is there for Celtic.
Celtic have answered the first question that has been put to them, and it was looked a little awkward between Barron and Hatate. Certainly nothing untoward in the challenge, but just the way that both players went down.
This is a tough one for Cal McGregor. Obviously, he's not had a lot of minutes. The game's quick, it's frantic. Aberdeen have got good balance in the midfield as well, so he's not got a lot of time to try and settle on the ball and feel his way into the game here.
First start since February the 28th for the Celtic captain. He has come on in the last two. And Taylor clattered by Duke, but Hatate keeps it alive for Yang. Hatate. Johnston sidesteps McGrath. Kühn hugging the touchline again. Johnston looping round the outside. And McGregor. Kühn looking to clip one in. The movement of Kyogo so enticing.
Again, that importance of the high starting position from Joe Hart. I mean, yes, it's a slightly overhit ball from Clarkson, but it wasn't ridiculous. But as soon as he hit it, you were thinking no chance, because Joe Hart's just in the perfect spot to be able to mop it up and avert any danger.
Taylor, Johnston to McGregor.
It's to be expected that Celtic will have more of the ball. It's difficult for Aberdeen to chase, but that's what they need to do. They need to constantly keep pressure on the ball.
There's Kühn looking for O'Reilly. Polvara trying to track him, and he does win the tussle. Kühn again, a bit of space to progress. It's to play the 1-2. MacKenzie gets the final touch off his opposite man. That becoming quite an intriguing little one-to-one battle between MacKenzie and Kühn.
It's an intriguing battle at the moment. Aberdeen have been able to settle themselves again after the disappointment of shooting themselves in the foot and being drawn level with Celtic. And for Celtic, it's just looking for a little bit more when they're getting into those positions in the final third. They've not really been able to penetrate yet in the wide areas. On one or two occasions it looked like they're about to, but you know what they're going to try to do. They just need to try and execute it that little bit better.
It's Connor Barron just giving away the free kick as he slid in to challenge Alistair Johnston. He certainly didn't agree with Don Robertson's call on that one. But on we go, and here's Yang. Duke having to come back to try and protect Aberdeen's position. He does it very well indeed. Yang stays down. Barron forward looking for Miovski, who just holds off Scales with ease.
That's great play. That really is good play from Aberdeen there.
Well, Miovski was wanting the long diagonal from Barron as well there. Devlin getting forward, but the passes don't quite click for the Dons. And now Celtic look to go at pace up the other end with Johnston. Not the ball that was required for Yang, though.
Just overhit there from Alistair Johnston, but you can see they're obviously desperately trying to get in behind the fullbacks. But so far, Aberdeen have defended those areas pretty well. It's a key area for Brendan Rodgers' side for me. You know, when you see Carter-Vickers of late coming back in and Hatate coming into the midfield, still think the wide areas are where this side are lacking the quality. You think of, obviously, Jota's has left the club, Abada's gone, Maedah's out injured, and he's not really hit the heights of what we've seen before. It's the one area of the team that's just a little bit lacking.
Carter-Vickers has got a race on here, which he won't win. Aberdeen will have the corner on the far side. Again, it's the threat of Miovski in behind which just occupies the minds of Carter-Vickers and Scales.
That's the thing, it's the two centre-halves have been occupied by Miovski and his movement. You see fully stretched Carter-Vickers having to flick it away. Wasn't in any real control, hence why it's gone behind for the corner kick here.
Which Leighton Clarkson will take. Swinging delivery is well over the top of Duke, who was the last man at the back post. Celtic quickly back underway and look to find their rhythm again. O'Reilly popped off quickly to McGregor. Kyogo's on the move again. MacDonald positioned himself well. Neat touch from Polvara. Now McGrath will look to hold off Callum McGregor. And the free kick will be given as Clarkson knocks that one out of play.
But it's more good play in the turnover. Aberdeen looking to really go at Celtic. Nice little bit of interchange with a couple of passes. You see Callum McGregor desperately trying to get goal side on Jamie McGrath.
That's a wonderful ball from Polvara. MacKenzie, Miovski waits, it didn't quite come his way. Carter-Vickers protecting that front post. And Alistair Johnston has just stayed down as he stretched to try and clear that.
Yeah, clearly uncomfortable. For Alistair Johnston, I'm not totally sure what it is that was wrong there, but just the moment before from Celtic was actually quite good as well. There was you'd see Carter-Vickers popping it into O'Reilly, Callum McGregor desperately getting forward to get onto the ball as well, and then forcing that last pass, and that to me is just that little bit of ring rustiness that is in the performance, because he's not played a lot, McGregor. Just trying to force that last pass.
Given away this time by Taylor. Duke can find Clarkson. He looks for Duke again. Devlin in support if Duke needs him. He doesn't have a lot of space to operate on, and he'll take that coming off Yang for another Aberdeen corner.
But when you look at the threat that and the positivity that Duke has given Aberdeen here today, then you realise it's like getting a new player, because they've really missed the level of performance that Duke had last season. The goals, the assists, the drive and runs, but certainly today he's been back defending, he's been forcing the issue getting forward as well, and a big positive for the team from the northeast.
Well, and Aberdeen put all their attacking players in the 6-yard box to attack that ball from Jack MacKenzie. Carter-Vickers defending well, and McGrath just gets there ahead of Yang. from Roos. Scales can only knock it down to Polvara.
Aberdeen throw as Taylor manages to out-jump Miovski. Taylor wins it again, but it's all about where the ball will settle. Gartenmann sends it forward. Scales and Miovski will challenge for it. Scales who came out on top, and now Johnston looks for that direct delivery towards Kyogo.
That's the sort of thing that I've seen historically with Aberdeen, just trying to force that ball over the top on occasions to Miovski, and Celtic are doing it there with Kyogo.
Kühn on the left-hand side. Polvara just gave it away, and Taylor, Hatate, and it's Duke that nips in front of McGregor, and now looks to back his pace against Alistair Johnston. And again, but that's excellent from the Canadian right back. Always looked in control of the situation, never panicked when Duke got into full stride. McGregor again, it opens up here for the Celtic captain as Callum McGregor, and just rising over the top of Kelly Roos's goal.
Yeah, a good bit of space on the edge of the box here for Callum McGregor. With the quality he's got, it's no surprise that he's taken the shot on there. Just not able to keep it down and test Kelly Roos. I'm just looking at Alistair Johnston. Looks like he's still trying to shake off whatever it was that he was feeling when he tried to make the block earlier on.
Clarkson to Miovski. Taylor was just held back by Aberdeen's number 9. Kühn couldn't force it through first time. Now they try a different approach. O'Reilly had to react. McGregor, Hatate, Taylor and Yang, perhaps with a chance to go one-on-one against Devlin. Greg Taylor, and now Johnston encouraged to shoot, which he does low across goal, and just drags it wide of the target.
Well, it wasn't the worst attempt, was it? There was definitely the opening there once it got worked back to the edge of the box and slipped across to him there. Just ever so slightly pulling the shot. But you know, I just think on too many occasions when you see Yang on this side and Kühn on the other, it's that lack of willingness to go and really hit the byline. It becomes almost like basketball, and you're working your way around the edge of the box, and when there's so many bodies there, it's not always on for the strikes like that there from Johnston, where there's that space. And what Callum McGregor just had a few minutes ago, you really need and want. We saw it earlier on, I mentioned on it, when Kühn faced up Jack MacKenzie, dropped the shoulder, went to the byline, and it causes so many problems once you're in behind the defence. And look, we know that predominantly left-footed, he wants to cut in. Likewise with Yang here.
Well, Clarkson takes it, comes all the way through to Gartenmann. Big save from Joe Hart. Rushed off his line. How did that one get all the way through to Stefan Gartenmann?
Good question. Because it's not a particularly great free kick. I think, is it Greg Taylor that's, yeah, just flicks it. I don't know how it led to him just flicking it and not making the block. Wonderful goalkeeping from Joe Hart, right out on top of Gartenmann. Greg Taylor protesting to Don Robertson as if something had happened. I didn't see it, but fortunate.
Clarkson curls one in again towards Gartenmann. Duke hit the deck, but there weren't too many appeals in the way of Don Robertson. So Devlin will send it back towards Polvara. Won the header. Scales sent it away. MacDonald and Scales, commanding header from him. And now Kyogo. No, Kyogo was the only, Kühn was the only man ahead of him. And Celtic just looked maybe to go a little early with the killer ball from Kyogo.
Well, I think the ball was on earlier, but then once he'd waited and taken a couple of touches, Kyogo, pass wasn't on that time. I think he needed to try to shift the angle a little bit, maybe try and come out the other side. Aberdeen had plenty of bodies back in the end, but initially it was a bit of a foot race between Kühn and the last defender if Kyogo decided to slide it.
Carter-Vickers winning the tussle with Miovski. Now MacKenzie's going to come under pressure here from Kühn, who beats him. Kyogo in the middle, and he couldn't quite get the angle to find him.
Well, it's the danger here once it's flicked over and the ball's bouncing. Kühn's on his bike, getting there first, not able to get his right foot round it and put it into the path for Kyogo.
Riley presents it to Duke. He's doing well so far to hold off McGregor, but it's only getting harder as he approaches the corner flag, and another Celtic player comes in to help out, and it will be a Celtic free kick.
Well, it's a free kick in the end. It's right down in the corner flag, and it's great play from Duke. You know, he's under real pressure straight away from the Celtic captain McGregor, but he shows real good strength, drives forward, holding players off. It's been a very good performance from Duke so far, along with a number of his teammates, and they need to keep that up, Aberdeen, if they've got any hope of getting themselves through to the final, because you would imagine that Celtic are going to dominate a little bit more in the second half.
There's Polvara to Miovski, who claims handball here against Liam Scales. Is of course one that will be checked by Greg Aitken and Andrew McWilliam on VAR.
It certainly looked like it caught Liam Scales. It's then just a question really if it has caught the arm, is it, if it's in a completely normal position, which a lot of the times it is, but we'll have a better look of it here. There's a good angle for a replay. I tell you what, Rory, you know, he's holding the player off. That could easily have been given.
Well, it may
really
yet
could.
Still.
I'm just meaning even in real time, you know, the referee could easily have given that. I would have a little bit of sympathy with Liam Scales, because I think his arm is out holding the player off there, but the fact that as he's swinging forward the ball is caught. I mean, I see a lot of ludicrous decisions that are given with VAR and handball. That for me is probably right on the borderline.
It's right on the borderline of the penalty area as well.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that they'll need to check, as the 5 minutes have just been confirmed, but that's clearly going to be a little bit longer now.
And I'd imagine he's panicking as well, Liam Scales, because he knows that it's caught his arm, and he knows that the world we live in now, where there's some strange handballs that are given. That wouldn't be a strange one, but I would have a lot of sympathy with him. I don't think it is.
Well, the check has been completed. It was indeed outside of the penalty area, so Aberdeen will restart with this throw. There was a handball, but they wouldn't go back for just a free kick.
the Celtic supporters, they're not best pleased. It's credit to Aberdeen, they have disrupted this Celtic performance. They've not been able to find a real rhythm and a flow to their game. They're going to have to perform better in the second half.
In his scales, he may have been a little concerned in that what would have felt like a very long wait for that decision. It'll be very interesting to see an angle, if we get one, along that line. No, certainly from high behind the goal, just to see exactly where the contact took place. It's in from Kühn. Taylor on the edge, he goes down, but no free kick. Here's Taylor. No skills. Devlin sliding in on Yang. He felt he got enough of the ball, but Don Robertson felt he went through the player to get it.
He did. I mean, he got plenty of the ball, but he is through the back of Yang. Yang's got his body in front. I'm not really sure Nicky Devlin can be complaining there. It's a clear free kick. See the ball's coming up. Yang's got his body in front. I mean, that's a free kick every day of the week. It's probably been like that for about 25 years.
I was going to say, I was thinking back to the '94 World Cup when that tackle got outlawed.
There you go, 30. We're close enough, Rory, yeah.
There's Kyogo with the touch, but laid off to a red jersey. And there's Gartenmann. Forward from Devlin and Duke. And keep it in play, knock it off Taylor.
Obviously, a lot of supporters expecting the offside flag to have gone up there for Duke, but he's been a wonderful outlet for Aberdeen so far. You see the turnover here when the ball's getting played forward. No, he's clearly onside. You can see Carter-Vickers is stepping up in the middle there. Played him onside. Good call from the officials there.
A strong finish to the first half from Aberdeen. They started well as well. Here's Devlin into Miovski. Jack MacKenzie to take this corner for Aberdeen. Left-footed from MacKenzie. That's too close to Hart, who claws it away to safety. And Duke shoulder to shoulder with Hatate, wins that initial confrontation. Then the Japanese gets back in, and it's a victory for him in the end.
Well, that's a good battle, because you know the strength of Hatate. Here's this incident before coming off of Scales' arm. Obviously, outside the box was the call. If it's on the line, it would have been in. But for me, I go back to, I wouldn't have been surprised if it was given, but I would have had real sympathy for Scales, because I think his arm is there holding off Miovski to begin with. A borderline call that being outside the box is avoided having to be made.
Johnston played the 5 additional minutes, but of course we did have that delay for VAR, so play going on. And Nicholas Kühn on the left-hand side, this time finding Taylor.
Why is he not hitting the byline before? It was bizarre.
Kühn. Miovski gets in to break up the Celtic attack, and that brings an end to what has been a very intriguing first half that saw Bojan Miovski put Aberdeen in front after only 2 minutes, but Celtic responded through Nicholas Kühn, and at the break at Hampden Park in the Scottish Gas Scottish Cup semi-final, it's Aberdeen 1, Celtic 1. Well, thank you very much, Emma. And Aberdeen back out onto the Hampden Park turf. No changes from Peter Leven, and now to be joined by Celtic. And by the signs of things, no changes from Brendan Rodgers either. These two meeting in the Scottish Cup for the first time since the delayed semi-final in November 2020, won by Celtic here 2-0. Ryan Christie and Mohamed El Yunusi. Celtic have in fact won 6 of the previous 7 Scottish Cup semi-finals. Aberdeen's only one in that time, coming in 1983, 1-0 Peter Weir. This one finally poised, 1-1. Bojan Miovski putting Aberdeen in front after 2 minutes. Nicholas Kühn equalising for Celtic after Angus MacDonald, the stand-in Aberdeen skipper, was robbed by Kyogo. There's MacDonald that sprays that out, looking for Duke, who has been productive down the flank for Aberdeen. Miovski to Clarkson now, and McGrath will be closed down by 2 Celtic players. One of them is Alistair Johnston, and Aberdeen will have an early free kick to look to attack in this second half.
Well, it's more positivity for Aberdeen. Ideal start in the second half. A little bit of a loose ball in the midfield. They're onto it. They break forward. It's a free kick. And obviously, the guys talking about it at half-time there, and they're spot on. It's the big challenge for Aberdeen is to make sure that they maintain this level of performance. A lot of those players out there performing at the highest level and winning their 1v1 battles. They've got to keep doing that.
And Clarkson looks favourite here to whip this one in with the right foot, gets it over Kyogo. Scales half clear, McGrath keeps it alive, and then the volley goes well off target. There were a few handball appeals in there, but I think it was against McGrath.
Well, it certainly seemed to the Celtic players that were claiming for it, but a dangerous ball there from Clarkson. It just hits off of Duke actually without him realising. Yeah, you can see the Celtic players claiming came up off of McGrath. See, that for me is the problem for Celtic. They've had no penetration in those wide areas with Kühn and Yang. They flipped them over just at the end of the second half there, and the first half. And even when he had the opportunity to run the line, Kühn on his stronger left foot, he was still looking to come inside and narrow off the game.
What will he do this time? Chance to go up against MacKenzie, gets the overlap from Johnston, and it wins Celtic a corner.
And of course you want a little bit of variety, and on occasions when you're driving in you've got a overlap and run there from Johnston, then that's a good bit of play. But when it becomes the only bit, it becomes a little bit predictable and one-dimensional.
Matt O'Reilly to take Celtic's corner. Liam Scales went for it. Back in it goes to the middle from Kühn, and McGregor will pick up. Do you think that is something that's naturally in the head of the wingers, or do you think that comes from the coaching?
I think it's just a lack of quality in those wide areas. You've got quality, you face the defender 1v1 up, go and attack them.
Yang with the delivery in, Kyogo just peeling off, Kühn coming in at the back post.
They're obviously playing inverted on the wrong side, but you still want to see them going and hitting the byline at times. They just don't do it enough. I don't think it's just down to coaching. I just think it's a mentality of some wide players nowadays.
There's O'Reilly from McGregor, and now Kühn from deep, chased by MacKenzie.
Taylor. Nicholas Kühn again. Yang against Devlin. A few step overs, cuts back onto the right foot, and the cross is plucked out of the air by Roos.
Even there, there's a bit more intent, there's a wee bit more energy to Yang going and facing Devlin up. He's driving him back into the box. Before, it was very static and slow. I would imagine that Brendan Rodgers has passed that message on. I mean, you ask it, is it coaching? I can't believe it would be, because it's not beneficial to play, one-dimensional like that and only drive on the inside.
Kühn almost getting that touch away from MacKenzie after Joe Hart was hurried into his clearance.
Brendan Rodgers would not have expected the midfield in particular to have been second best to a large extent. Hatate's been quiet, McGregor's been quiet, O'Reilly likewise. I wonder, he spoke before the game about McGregor not playing the full game. I wonder how long he'll leave it before the likes of Iwata makes an appearance.
Well, interestingly, Brendan Rodgers did turn to the Japanese substitute just as the second half kicked off and said, give yourself 10-15 minutes. Tomoki Iwata will be introduced at some point. Devlin felt he was blocked off by Taylor, perhaps just ran into him, and that's what Don Robertson tells him to get back to his feet. Duke now covering his position, but that frees up Yang. Yang cuts back. Yang on the right foot. Polvara only half cleared. And Kühn with the effort, and MacDonald gets a firm head on it. Now Miovski goes down. Carter-Vickers is adamant that he did nothing wrong there, and still Devlin down on the far side, but his absence almost led to an opening for Celtic.
Well, the players are falling down everywhere. So many instances. Carter-Vickers is adamant that nothing's happened. But this is a lovely ball there from Hatate on the inside there. Bad wee check back from Yang. Good block from Gartenmann in the end. And likewise, I think it's MacDonald that gets the header away here. See this ball, wonderfully weighted. The first touch from Yang wasn't ideal. He wasn't able to keep it in his path, and he had to check back again. Still not sure what's happened there between Miovski and Carter-Vickers when they came across, but on the far side, a little bit of concern for Devlin.
Yeah, Nicky Devlin has stayed down. He's been such an important player for Aberdeen this season. He's only missed the one game since arriving from Livingston. This was how it happened.
Oh, yeah, it's just the landing there. You can see his left leg, his knee and hip and groin. That's a sore one. His body, the boot was caught in the ground, his body was going in the other direction. It just looks as if he's hurt and opened up a lot of the joints down that left leg. You'd like to think, and you would hope that he's able to get it moving and run it off, but it certainly looked like a bit of an awkward one.
He's already been in the wars, clearly. He's got the mask, he could get a knee brace. What else could he wear out there for protection? Here is Duke. Aberdeen operating with 10 for now. Devlin should be able to, well, I thought, yes, he is going to return because he will take this throw-in.
That's more really good play there from Duke. He takes the ball in tight on the touchline. He's under real pressure from Hatate, who's got great strength, but Duke's holding him off. He's winning his side of throw-in.
And winning the jump against Taylor there, but Miovski was offside.
Devlin's back on, but you just see he's still a little bit...
There's Johnston, and takes a touch, but that will be an offside call against the Canadian. Jack Milne is currently getting some instructions. Will be joining us shortly for Aberdeen.
You can see here Johnston just offside slightly there. Eventually the linesman flag goes up.
And Brendan Rodgers was just having a quick word with James Forrest, who's warming up with Tomoki Iwata.
So I would not be surprised one little bit if James Forrest is on this pitch. Sharpish, because the white players have not really been able to provide anything for Celtic so far.
Both managers looking to be proactive to try and turn this very well poised Scottish Cup semi-final in their favour. Gartenmann to Miovski. Again, won the flick on, but Clarkson just unable to get a hold of it. Now Kühn sliding in, timing that well was Jack MacKenzie.
I think you can see as well for Aberdeen, the fullbacks, they've got a sense that they've got the upper hand. MacKenzie clapping at the tackle, shutting it down. Likewise on the far side with Devlin.
Carter-Vickers out to Nicholas Kühn. McGregor feeds Johnston. Hatate's come looking, searching for the ball, but does drop for Taylor. Came under pressure from Polvara.
He was up quickly on him there, Polvara. Just a little bit of a heavy touch from Greg Taylor. Managed to evade the tackle and get the ball away in the end, but it was tight. Very finely poised game here.
Gartenmann covering the runner of O'Reilly. And Duke loses out to Taylor. Hatate helps it back to the left back. Celtic winning the ball high up the park. Johnston. Now O'Reilly. And Kühn.
I mean, that's useless. It really is. You know, you're narrowing off the game. You then make it all the more difficult to actually be able to play a ball where Kyogo can get on the end of it. He thrives on balls in behind the defence. And when you're playing like that, where everything is driving on the inside, it just shuts down the angles.
Out to Kühn again. He's been fed plenty of times. MacKenzie again will show him the inside. Now Hatate. Polvara matching him. Taylor. Hatate. Celtic have had a lot of possession in this second half. They haven't managed to do too much with it, just as that one was fed into the feet of O'Reilly.
That's a major concern for Celtic, it really is, because, you know, when you spin the ball out to a wide player and they've got 5-10 yards to go and attack the fullback, who you're potentially then moving back into the box, and all you do is slow it down and go on the inside, when there's also 10-15 yards of space towards the byline. It just doesn't make any sense. There's another opportunity. Attack the fullback, hit the byline. No, slow the game down.
Well, he's gone inside looking for that return ball from Hatate. Down goes Kühn. The ball was out of play.
Yeah, the ball goes out over the line in the end. Hatate trying to find that slide rule pass.
Kyogo. Great touch to bring it under his control. Polvara breaks it up for now. McGrath returning. Polvara to Clarkson. Looks back for Polvara. Down goes Clarkson, and Aberdeen will have the free kick just their side of halfway.
Well, they needed that little moment there because they're just thinking as Celtic were attacking the other way. Aberdeen have not really been able to, in the last 5-10 minutes, get much play going forward the other way for them. You see Kühn catching Clarkson late there. Just getting a couple of passes, getting an attack, just so that they don't feel like they're just holding on and having to defend wave after wave of attack from Celtic. They've got to continue to offer something going forward as well.
Celtic are preparing a double change. The two players that I've mentioned before, James Forrest and Tomoki Iwata, will be the two coming on. I understand it will be Hyun-Jun Yang and Callum McGregor that will head off. So perhaps a final chance here for Yang to make an impact. Yang on the right foot. Kyogo can't get turned, but O'Reilly is there. Now Taylor, intricate from Celtic. Hatate involved. Hatate, oh, somewhere he found space where there was none, and he got turned, fired it across. Aberdeen survived for now, but it's coming back at them through Taylor. Now McGregor. Johnston, Celtic looking to turn the screw on the hour mark. Kühn, Johnston across. Aberdeen knock it out, but Celtic have got their tails up.
Yeah, and the way the game's just starting to go, you can get a sense and a feeling that Aberdeen are just half a yard off it now. They're not able to get themselves up the pitch as frequent as they were.
So that will bring an end to Callum McGregor's semi-final. The double change will see the introduction of Tomoki Iwata and James Forrest. There's Hyun-Jun Yang also making way, so James Forrest will come on. He is nearing his 500th appearance for the club. This is number 490. He's won 6 Scottish Cups. Callum McGregor has plenty to his name as well, replaced by Tomoki Iwata, but an encouraging sign to see McGregor starting again in a Celtic jersey, just looking to get back up to full speed.
That's good from Aberdeen as well. I mean, not the ball forward there, but certainly they're looking to try to continue to play the ball, because you can't just thump it away all the time. You need to spend a little bit of time on the ball, and they've not done enough of that in this last 10-15 minutes.
As Cameron Carter-Vickers is now wearing the captain's armband for Celtic. Now James Forrest. Forrest opens up. Well, that would have been some introduction. Barron with the block, and now Duke. Aberdeen on the break. If Duke can find the right pass here. Carter-Vickers, it was really important he got in front of Miovski there, and he did. Now Iwata. Kyogo was desperate for it there. He was frustrated it never came his way. Forrest. Forrest is going to have another go here. James Forrest! That is how to introduce yourself in a semi-final. James Forrest has come off the bench with intent, and he has delivered once again for his club. Well, that is quite remarkable. He's only been on the pitch a matter of minutes. He's had one shot blocked. The second one finds its way into the corner, and Celtic lead for the first time.
What is Angus MacDonald doing, pulling his leg away as well, just as this comes in? What on earth is going on there? This will be a better angle, but I mean, look, There's a real intent from James Forrest. I'm not sure why the defender doesn't try to clear that there. He's maybe concerned about deflecting it, but just clear it. But you touched on it, Rory. James Forrest picks it up, the attack before. He goes right at the heart of the defence, gets a shot away, causes real concern in the Aberdeen team. Second one, same thing. Bursts past the player, gets the space on the edge of the box, gets the strike away.
There's a yellow card for Nicholas Kühn there for pulling back Jack MacKenzie.
Quality and end product makes such a difference in the wide areas, and they've lacked it in the game up until Forrest coming on. He comes on, he makes the difference. His side are 2-1 in front. Quite right, a yellow card for Nicholas Kühn there.
There's Clarkson in now. It's Aberdeen's turn to try and respond.
And they need to, because in the build-up to that, they're just coming off it slightly.
There's Miovski. Just quite wouldn't settle for him. Polvara steered away by Taylor. Chance for Kyogo on the break. Devlin, the last man back for Aberdeen, but being joined by Dante Polvara, who fouls Kyogo. The Celtic have the free kick. James Forrest's 105th goal for Celtic, his 8th against Aberdeen, which includes the 2019 Scottish Cup semi-final as well. He was actually on the bench way back in the 2011 semi-final too.
Well, I'm surprised that he's not made more appearances, especially when they've been struggling in those wide areas.
As O'Reilly's ball in, Gartenmann gets his head to it. Duke and Hatate going for that one. Barron comes in. Duke will be heading off shortly. It'll be Junior Hoilett who will be coming on in his place.
Well, he's been very good for Aberdeen, but you can see that he's tired.
It's an interesting point that you make about James Forrest and why he's maybe not played more this season. Brendan Rodgers came out, I think it was only maybe about a month ago, saying that he's the best winger at the club, and yet doesn't get very much game time. Certainly not to start. He's only had 3 starts all season.
Yeah, doesn't really make sense, does it, when the manager's making comments like that, but then not getting the game time. But completely understandable that he came off the bench here today, and even more so when you see what he produces.
Here's Taylor. Rio Hatate gets the run from Iwata ahead of him. Hatate now finds Iwata. Kühn. Acres and time to pick out the right pass. He didn't quite manage it. Carter-Vickers is getting the better of Miovski right now. Kühn. Back with Hatate. He's closed down and wins the free kick. Gartenmann at Aberdeen frustrated. So Aberdeen's changed. Duke goes off with 3/4 of the game played. And 33-year-old Canadian international Junior Hoilett, brought in from the Vancouver Whitecaps until the end of the season. 10th appearance for the former Blackburn, QPR, Reading, Cardiff winger.
Idah will be coming on as well. He's only had a good impact in his short loan spell from Norwich City. Well, O'Reilly and Hatate over it. That has been blazed miles over by Hatate. So now Celtic to make their change, and it will be Kyogo to make way. No goal at Hampden for once for the Japanese striker. He's now got some healthy competition up front with Idah coming on, who's got 7 goals in 12 appearances. Made his debut at Pittodrie actually back in February. Well, this was just in the build-up to that Celtic goal. Aberdeen had asked the question of Don Robertson of whether they should have had a free kick for that challenge on Connor Barron. It was interesting because Greg Aitken, the VAR referee, asked Don Robertson what the Aberdeen players were complaining about so they could go back, have a check. They had a look, and clearly, as we've seen there, nothing really to be dealt with. Forest. So Greg Taylor bombing down the outside, and Hatate hits it, takes a touch, and it's off a Celtic player, so out for the goal kick.
I think it was Idah's first touch. Clattered off him by Hatate. So the big question that was obviously being posed and asked at half-time is, you know, Aberdeen able to keep up that intensity? It's dropped off. Celtic have got their noses in front. They've now got to try and dig deep and find something from somewhere that's going to get them back into the game, because at this stage they're going out the cup and they've got to try and disrupt Celtic again. They've just been able to find a bit of a rhythm, controlling the ball a lot more. They've not been able to get in their faces as much or as successfully as they had in that first half.
So over 45,000 inside the National Stadium. Here's O'Reilly and James Forrest. Well, he's closed down, this time by a combination of Devlin and Barron. It looked like he was about to strike that magic wand again and give Celtic another. Inside the final 20 minutes. Hatate, Idah now. Celtic have had to come from behind. Kühn with the right foot, it comes off MacKenzie, and it will be a corner kick. This second half really has been dominated by one team.
Yeah, it has. It's Celtic going from strength to strength, a bit quicker in their play as well now, and I think there's in part due to the intensity of Aberdeen's performances has dropped. They've just not been able to keep things up.
So Riley's ball in, and up went Cameron Carter-Vickers. Couldn't get enough purchase on the header.
See this one where Forrest was just eyeing up second goal. Connor Barron getting back in just to make a vital block, because if it's 3-1, I think safe to say couldn't see a way back for Aberdeen. But as long as it is just the one goal, you never know.
Here's Idah. Oh, and there's Hatate making the break. Coming across is Gartenmann. That was important for Aberdeen.
it's a nice little bit of play from Idah, just checks back and flicks it on the inside. Yeah, good defending from Gartenmann.
O'Reilly clips that one again. The target was Carter-Vickers. Barron just hurt himself in the process there, but back up to his feet just to protect that area in front of the Aberdeen back four. Celtic looking for the third goal that would surely kill this off. This is Kühn, Idah. As well to hang on to it, Idah. Away by MacKenzie. Can Miovski look to get involved for Aberdeen? Clarkson and he combining. Final quarter of an hour. Unless Aberdeen can change things around here. As it stands, Celtic will be heading to the Scottish Cup final on May the 25th to face either one of Hart and Midlothian or Rangers, who face off tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Taylor back to Scales. Now Forrest. Hatate. Forrest. Johnston. Kühn. MacKenzie gets the first contact. Had to be careful just not to dangle the foot in. Here's Forrest again. It's very congested along that 18-yard line. Kühn to Johnson. Hoilett doing his defensive duties. Now Iwata. Hatate. Now Johnson. Idah wanted it. Forrest gets it. James Forrest shifts it back onto the right foot. Well, he did well to fashion the chance, but Kelly Roos was never going to be beaten by the shot.
Yeah, just when he shifted it back, I think eventually just stuck under his feet a little bit, but still managing to get the strike on target, working the goalkeeper. I mean, look, the intensity that James Forrest brought in an attacking sense, when he picks it up, you can see he's got a desire to go and beat opponents. And on most occasions he's looking on that inside channel, but he does it at such pace. He's popping 1-2s, he's creating space instead of drifting and allowing the defence to get themselves set. Just the quickness and the speed of his play has helped big time for Celtic in that respect.
Well, there's an intensity, isn't there? And you can hear it amongst the fans when the ball goes out to Forrest on the far left-hand touchline. They rise in anticipation. He's direct. There's intent, and it has proved to be the decisive moment right now.
It's quality. I mean, it's just simple quality as well. And you can understand why Brendan Rodgers came out and said that, you know, no disrespect to the others, but he is the best winger that's at the club. And it does pose a question then, why not playing more often?
Aberdeen are going to make a double change here as Nicky Devlin rather will have to go off. Jack Milne to come on for him. So on comes Jack Milne for Nicky Devlin, a 21-year-old, and the other change will be
Higher up the park is Esther Sokler. Will come on for Dante Polvara, so going with a front two, or perhaps Sokler will just sit in behind, and that will allow Clarkson to go back into the middle of the pitch.
It's an attacking substitution though, you know, there's approaching 80 minutes and roll of the dice. Miovski looking as if he's a little bit deeper, but it's effectively two up top, they'll just dovetail off of each other. Clarkson dropping in deeper in the midfield.
Milne back to Gartenmann,
And that's flicked on by Sokler, and here's Miovski. He's got Hoilett alongside him. Junior Hoilett to level the semi-final. It's the side netting. Well, his first touch took him wide, and from then he was always battling against it to get it back.
Well, there you go, there's the front two working in tandem. You can see wonderful ball from Miovski. It's that first touch as you spoke about, Rory. The first touch takes him away from goal, closes down the angle, makes it so much more difficult to be able to get the strike on target.
10 minutes to go. Will Aberdeen regret that opportunity? What a chance it was. And here goes Forrest at the other end to the byline.
Kühn and MacKenzie have a bit of a coming together, but it will be an Aberdeen throw.
Okay, the final ball's not what you would want and expect because of the quality of James Forrest, but you just look at the difference when you actually drive the defender into the box. He's been cutting inside, this time he goes to the line. It's the variety of the attack, as you see this attack from Aberdeen, and the huge chance. Can't get his foot wrapped around it as well because he's stretching. Massive opportunity for Aberdeen that they've passed up there, but with 10 minutes to go, gives them a little bit of belief that there is still life in them.
It's Clarkson forward, Sokler with the knockdown. Miovski's just lurking behind Carter-Vickers. Barron, now McGrath, not quite what was required. It will perhaps come for Sokler. He'll settle for the corner on the far side. And Esther Sokler has certainly made a difference already, and he's asking for more from those Aberdeen fans as Conor Barron gets back to his feet.
Well, it's given them another body higher up the park. Now what it does is it means that the middle is going to be a little bit more exposed, but for Aberdeen they really forget about trying to play things through there. They want to get it up to the final third as quickly as possible and utilise the two guys they've got up there now. It's a gamble well worth taking.
So will be MacKenzie to take the corner.
In swinger,
And it's one at the front post by Idah, knocked away, and MacKenzie can try again. This time it will be a change of approach with time running out for Aberdeen, but can they find a big opportunity again? It's Hoilett's corner. It's Hatate, challenged by Clarkson. Now Barron, the run from Sokler. Certainly given them an outlet, something different to test that Celtic defence. Clarkson now. Clarkson's ball in, Scales goes for it, MacKenzie with a chance to deliver again, and comes off Johnston, who looks to save the corner. That ball was out, though it will be an Aberdeen corner as Johnston protests.
Well, it's exactly what Peter Leven would have been hoping for when he made the substitution, just to get a reaction from the side, and Sokler has given them it, and he's almost brought a bit of life to the rest of the team here as well.
To Hoilett again, this time the in-swinger goes near post, and a few appeals for handball. The Aberdeen players asking the question, so they'll be busy spinning back in the VAR booth. McGrath. It's cleared, but only as far as Clarkson.
It's poor from McGrath. He's got good quality. With loads of time to lift his head.
Jack Milne. That handball appeal has been cleared by VAR. Now Kühn looks for Idah, well read though. And here comes Hoilett on the right foot, unleashes the shot, but a rather imposing frame of Carter-Vickers gets in the way. Milne out to Clarkson. There's life in Aberdeen yet. Hart challenged by Miovski. It's Hoilett! And off the line by Carter-Vickers, and Hart grabs it on the line. Celtic survive.
Well, Joe Hart, I think, is obviously asking the question of Don Robertson, but when it first came in, I think Miovski just gets up really well and early. I think it's fair call. And then Junior Hoilett, unbelievable. Once it lands at him and he drops the shoulder, gets the space, he's probably thinking destined for the back of the net. Carter-Vickers in the perfect spot, right time.
Well, double change for Celtic. Nicholas Kühn, one of their goal scorers, makes way and replaced by Luis Palma, who has 9 goals, 13 assists to his name this season. And also Rio Hatate to make way. And Paulo Bernardo, the Portuguese midfielder on loan from Benfica, will replace him in the Celtic midfield. Aberdeen also making a change, and Leighton Clarkson is the man making his way to the sidelines, and it's Crystal Palace loanee Phillips who comes on. Four minutes of the 90 left. Goes Forrest, who will play on the right-hand side with now Palma's inclusion. Does come to Forrest, and now O'Reilly. Palma, his first involvement, looking to thread that one through for Taylor, and it yields another Celtic corner.
Couple of minutes have just shown how tight the game can be when it's just the one goal in it. As much as Celtic have dominated the second half, you can see that Aberdeen, with the substitution, still posing a threat.
Palma cleared at the front post, only as far as Bernardo. Now Iwata. Forrest. Back to Iwata, time and space to deliver the cross. There's Scales. Oh, big chance for Celtic. That would have put them in the final for sure.
Yeah, it was a big chance. You see the space for Iwata on the edge of the box here. Scales getting in. Just wonder whether he's ever so slightly in front of the ball. Looks like he's just trying to cushion it into the corner, which makes it a little bit more difficult rather than being able to run straight onto it and head it on target there. But still a big chance for Scales to put the game to bed.
Well, the early indications from the touchline are that the plan is to add 6 minutes at the end of the 90. 2 minutes of normal time left. Have Aberdeen's big chances passed them by though? Both falling to Junior Hoilett. There's Johnston. MacKenzie forward for Hoilett.
manages to hold off Johnston. McGrath, he's looking for support. It comes from Jack Milne. Back to McGrath, change of the angle. And Johnston guides that one out for another Aberdeen corner. A roar goes up from the 8,000 strong support in red.
Well, it's a good finish here from Aberdeen. If they do even end up going out, then I think the supporters will still be proud of the performance the team have put in. Disappointed they're out, but certainly the element of pride in how the team have gone about the performance today.
It's Hoilett to take, away by Palma. Barron was a little hesitant, then did manage to claim it. McGrath, and Barron just about managed to keep it for Aberdeen, but now given away. Palma looking early. Aberdeen get enough bodies back, and now free on this left-hand side is Junior Hoilett. Sokler and Miovski in the middle. It's Hoilett towards that back post. Late drama at Hampden Park. Sokler, the late hero for the Dons. How they've started and how they've finished. This one is destined for extra time, and Sokler off the bench. And from the moment he came on the park, Michael, he has looked to make a serious difference, and he has done exactly that.
Absolutely, but it's this desperation from Palma. So poor, giving the ball away. Hoilett, loads of space out here, and he goes and attacks the fullback. And what a ball into the back post for Sokler. And he makes no mistake with the finish, and you're right. He's been on the park, and he's had such an influence. He's brought an energy back to the Aberdeen team. Great ball, brilliant header. What a game, 2-2.
Well, Sokler booked for his celebrations, but I don't think he'll mind that one too much. His biggest moment in red, his third goal.
Well, you've got to give Peter Leven a lot of credit. He was seeking the advice of some other managers, and I'm pretty sure that score early, make an influential sub and score late would have been great advice to have been had, and he's followed it to a T. Just make sure you don't concede late.
It's not finished yet, though. Guided in by Taylor.
But, you know, in all seriousness, though, he's made the sub, he's had a massive impact in the game. But he has taken a risk there, and it has paid off for them big time, and you've got to give credit to him for that.
Here's Palma. Celtic desperate not to have to see this one go to extra time. Here's O'Reilly. Is there to be another twist? Well, here's Hoilett. He's got only Miovski ahead of him. Bernardo, now James Forrest. He wants it on his right foot. The curler at the outside of the boot. Straight into the grasp of Roos.
Well, look, he doesn't execute it exactly how he wanted, but it's a good idea. He's looking at MacDonald and just trying to use him as a shield and bend it round him into the far corner. Ends up going too close to Roos, but I've seen James Forrest doing that before with the outside of the boot. Just didn't execute the way he would have wanted, but a good idea.
Won by Sokler, but it's Bernardo, and this one will need to be stopped as Phillips is down with a head knock.
I wasn't sure it was a head knock. I think it is. Didn't look like he'd collided at all. I thought it was more just the way he landed and winded himself a little bit. Thankfully he's up and he's okay.
Well, both sides have had to show their resolve.
both coming from behind at different stages. Aberdeen leaving it late. That's out from Jack Milne.
It's been a very good performance from Aberdeen today. Yes, they slipped to behind in the second half a little bit, but the response has been good, very good.
Celtic corner cleared away by Milne. Palma now comes in early. Gartenmann did well to steady himself and knock that clear. Carter-Vickers, Matt O'Reilly, now Alistair Johnston with a curling delivery. Coming in at the back post was Luis Palma. It was just out of the reach of Adam Idah. Palma got onto it, but he just couldn't quite find the angle. What a semi-final this has been.
Yeah, it's been brilliant, absolutely great game, and this ball gets whipped in from Johnston. I just thought for a split second that Idah was going to get on the end of it, and I wonder whether he just gets in the way, puts off Palma a little bit, or perhaps it's the boot from Jack Milne that scares the winger slightly. Either way, it was just enough to be able to put the Celtic attackers off and make sure that they weren't getting the strike on target.
There's Hoilett on. Miovski for Sokler on Hoilett. Phillips keeps it alive for Miovski. Pulled back for Barron. Well, this would be some smash and grab from Aberdeen if they could get another. Idah. It's Bernardo. Johnston just smashes that clear.
Well, they've rocked Celtic with the way they've came into this game in the last 15 minutes, and they look really threatening.
Scales gets that on to Taylor. He did well. He was under pressure. Aberdeen have committed a number of players forward. Final seconds of the 90. Here's Iwata. Timoki Iwata. Idah. Back to Iwata. Idah. Wow. Heart and mouth moment, and Adam Idah cannot believe it.
What a goal that would have been, Rory. It would have been an absolute cracker. Jack MacKenzie's down. Yeah, hopefully he does look okay, but what a goal. It's that touch though from Idah. It's just too far away from him to get the clean strike away before Jack MacKenzie comes in. Just here, too far, he's stretching. What a game, and what a finish. And that would have just topped it off even more.
Well, Aberdeen born Jack MacKenzie with a heroic moment there. One pinballing about in the middle, and there will be a goal kick for now. There is just a brief check going on. You can see Adam Idah appealing. And there is the full-time whistle for the end of the 90 minutes. Sokler off the bench to equalise in the 90th minute after it looked like James Forrest had won it for Celtic. It has been a classic Scottish Cup semi-final, and the good news is there's 30 minutes at least still to come. The score at the end of the 90, Aberdeen 2, Celtic 2, and extra time to come. Well, thank you very much, Emma. And we go on at Hampden Park. This has been quite a remarkable 90 minutes. 30 to come now to see if there can be separation. In the 139th edition of the Scottish Cup, just the 20th semi-final that has gone to extra time. The last being when Rangers defeated Celtic 2 years ago. In fact, Celtic have lost their last 3 that have gone to extra time, 2 against Rangers, one of those on penalties. The other, if you remember back to the game against Inverness, Caledonian Thistle, the 3-2 game, certainly made a few headlines.
I'm sure there's too many people of a Celtic persuasion that would like to hear that stat, Rory. There's going to be a lot of tired bodies out there. Both sides put a lot into this. For Aberdeen, that goal to get level is just huge, because you can see it's just flooded the team full of it. Much needed adrenaline. They're going to need this for the extra time as well.
Well, if you want me to balance it up with an Aberdeen stat, only one of theirs has gone to extra time, and that was 100 years ago, 1923-24 against Hibs, 0-0, and then lost on a replay.
Well, you can see Gartenmann was ushering that out for a by kick. I did think it was a corner, certainly from here. You can see Bernardo thought likewise, but Don Robertson pointing straight away for the by kick. And you've got to think, Jimmy Thielin, watching this performance, will be thinking the basis is there for him to build from.
Well, and certainly there's a squad of players that is strong. Certainly not ninth in the Scottish Premiership.
No, not at all. But look, that, I think, and I said this before the game, anybody that's watched and seen Aberdeen this season recognises the quality is there, but question marks have obviously got to be hanging over the team, because this is not a performance that they have produced too often this season. It's a one-off game in the Cup semi-final, so I'm not sure too many of the Red Army will care a jot now. They're in it live in the moment, and they have a chance of getting through to their final. They've just got to hope their team can continue for another 30 minutes.
Could yet be a memorable season for Aberdeen if they could break this long-waited duck for Scottish Cup glory. For Celtic, they're looking for a magical 5 weeks here. Brendan Rodgers hoping to complete a double. They've started to take control in the battle for the league title, but it does remain close.
Well, it does remain tight and close, and to lose a semi-final would be a real tough one to deal with as well, in the context of the league. You know, the disappointment and the blow to the confidence as well. So this is a massive 30 minutes coming up here. It really is. It's been a sensational game, though. A joy to watch. In large part, two teams have really played their part here.
Scales the header down, but it's seized upon by McGrath. McGrath looking to put that through for Sokler. Oh, and wide it goes. Joe Hart came out. Sokler puts it wide.
Oh, what a moment. McGrath's on it in a flash of... Sokler he looks onside there to me, but it just looked like the ball checked ever so slightly and slowed up. Ends up being behind him, and he's not able to get the clean strike away. You see Miovski's looking for the pass. Strike partner's never going to do that in that position.
Well read by Killian Phillips, and on from McGrath to Miovski. Palma did well initially, but Milne will step in. Phillips. It's brought some physicality to that Aberdeen midfield. Now Johnston. Idah doesn't stick for him.
That's tiredness. That's all that is. Johnston's got the quality. Just overhits the pass. Too heavy.
Brendan Rodgers with his perfect record in the Scottish Cup. 15 wins from 15 games. That is under real threat here. He's only conceded 6 goals in the competition before this afternoon. Here's Forrest. Well, Angus MacDonald was able to cut out that ball. Forrest didn't quite get the purchase on the pass through to Idah that he was looking for. Now Hoilett, who provided that
delightful cross for Esther Sokler's equaliser.
Well, they keep passing the ball to Conor Barron, but he's wanting to. He's struggling with his right hamstring.
Roos. And Sokler and Miovski provide that dual target up front. Good touch from McGrath. Phillips bustling his way through, but couldn't pick the pass to release Hoilett, and Johnston was fouled by Junior Hoilett.
Well, he eventually does hook his foot round and win the ball, but I think Don Robertson's obviously pulling up for the initial bit of contact.
Well, Conor Barron is going to have to receive attention here. On come the medical staff. Barron's down, Miovski too. Let's just getting some help for a bit of cramp.
Well, they've had to do a lot of work off the ball, closing down, getting in the faces of the Celtic players. It's not easy, energy sapping. They've executed their manager's instructions perfectly, they really have. So hence why they are right in this cup tie.
Well, that's a good chance for the other players to have a bit of a breather. It's been played at quite the intensity. Have the luxury that Celtic would to lose a couple of players as well, particularly in the form of Barron and Miovski. So they will be patched up and ushered to go on.
And I said it when they were 2-1 down, approaching full time, that the Aberdeen supporters could be proud of their team, the way they've performed. And whoever loses the game, if Aberdeen weren't able to get into the final, there's a way of losing, and Aberdeen have performed admirably here today. They're obviously desperately hoping they can still get into that final, but the performance has been very good, and one that the Red Army can look at with some positivity and hope towards Jimmy Teeling's tenure.
Well, if Aberdeen are to do it, they're going to do it without top scorer Bojan Miovski. Shaden Morris will be coming on for him just once. Aberdeen can get this out of play, or Celtic maybe look to take advantage of the extra man for now.
Well, they need to stretch the game, fully use the width. Luis Palma's stepping on the inside when Greg Taylor picks the ball up.
As Forrest digs the cross out, Milne clears well.
Just keep feeding the wide man.
There's O'Reilly. Oh, great ball in from O'Reilly, just above Idah, and Gartenmann steers it out for the corner. Aberdeen can now get Morris on to help out with this defensive position. Luis Palma with the Celtic corner. Again, Milne knocks it clear. Paulo Bernardo. And Iwata for Johnston. Iwata again. Forrest. Bernardo looks to scoop that one back to James Forrest. Well, it's inventive.
Yeah, it certainly was. A red wall in front of Bernardo there. Decided to go over the top for James Forrest.
Played 10 minutes of extra time. There's Barron to Sokler. It's not quite as intimidating without Miovski to join Sokler as that approach. They were really occupying both Carter-Vickers and Liam Scales. Always gave Aberdeen an out ball.
Yeah, they were causing them problems.
There's Forrest into Paulo Bernardo. And Killian Phillips will get that one clear. Barron's down again, and this is an ongoing problem for Aberdeen. Matt O'Reilly. That's too close to Kelly Roos.
Yeah, you can see Conor Barron really struggling to get through these last few minutes of the first period in extra time. One last big push for Aberdeen. It's what they need. They need to really dig deep.
Phillips and McGrath challenging for that, but it comes to Celtic, and Forrest and Idah combine. Idah taking it for a run, but MacKenzie watched him well, but took a chance. Idah with the quick throw. Johnston, Iwata. It's Forrest that takes over though. Tomoki Iwata with time and space to cross. Milne clear. Taylor keeps it alive for Palma.
So that's good play from Milne as well. He's getting right on top of Palma, forcing them back, not letting them turn and attack him.
Two and a half minutes left of the first period of extra time. James Forrest thought about the early ball in, takes his time then, does deliver. Gartenmann away. Iwata picks up on the edge. Now Carter-Vickers, the Celtic skipper. Forrest threads that one through, looking for O'Reilly. Out it goes from Barron, who's put everything into this. There was another stretch from the Aberdeen midfielder.
Yeah, vital as well when you consider he is really struggling physically, mentally, still concentrating to get in position there.
Deep cross, and it will be an Aberdeen free kick. I guess when both Miovski and Barron were down, the assessment from the medical team was, well, who was worse? Who was actually able to continue and who was not? They only had one change available. Or in fact, there is space for one more. No mistake. And Ryan Duncan looks like he will be the man to come on to replace Conor Barron. 5 substitutes plus the 1 for extra time. I've done a miscalculation, not for the first time. There is Barron, helps it up to Hoilett. Palma, away past Milne. Scales. Palma. Taylor one inside. Taylor's clip delivery is plucked out of the sky by Roos.
You can see the frustration of Adam Idah. He was in position. Greg Taylor on that inside channel, and the ball comes back to him here. The striker's almost drifting around the back, just not enough on it. Either a little bit extra height or a wee bit more pace, and maybe the centre forward have been able to get a header on it.
So 2 additional minutes to be played here. Scales driving forward. Now Carter-Vickers. Forrest wants it and gets it. And quickly on to Johnston. Oh, and it's pulled back and turned in by Matt O'Reilly for Celtic in stoppage time at the end of the first period of extra time. Is that the decisive moment that kills off Aberdeen's hopes? Is that the moment that puts Celtic into the Scottish Cup final? Matt O'Reilly comes up and delivers when Celtic needed it most.
Well, it's a real quality goal from Celtic from start to finish. You can see James Forrest, he's got his boots on the touchline. Look at that run on the inside from Johnston. Wonderful pick out and a sensational finish there from Matt O'Reilly. And really, when the game is so deep into extra time, your body's tired, moments like that can go awry, but he makes no mistake. Finds the top corner. Kelly Roos has no chance. It's a great first touch as well from Matt O'Reilly. And I tell you, Brendan Rodgers was punching the air as well. Delighted, the Celtic manager, relieved as well to see his side take the lead in extra time here. With quality down that right hand side, Forrest, Johnson, and then Matt O'Reilly with a really good composed finish. You just wonder, is there anything left in the Aberdeen tank?
What an important player Matt O'Reilly has become for this Celtic side. That's 14 goals and 16 assists. 30 goal involvements for the Danish international this season for Matt O'Reilly, and maybe none of them will be more important than that, because it is half-time and extra time, and Celtic have got themselves in front again. Aberdeen 2, Celtic 3.
Thank you to Rory and to Michael, and what an important goal that could prove to be for Celtic by Matt O'Reilly. You know, Aberdeen, they're dead on their feet out there, aren't they? Miovski's gone off, Connor Barron looks like he'll be subbed off at this half-time interval, but you have to say Celtic have kept their head, Neil, they've kept plugging away, and it was a fine finish. That's
a great goal, yeah. I mean, beautifully worked between Forrest and Johnston, and an incredible pick out by Johnson. And then O'Reilly, who's had a stellar season. Been a bit quiet today, but he's come up with a big goal. Great touch, great finish, but you know, I thought Aberdeen had a great chance with Sokler early on in extra time, and if that goes in, the psychology of the game changes. But you know, it's front foot Celtic now. They're definitely in the ascendancy.
What now for Aberdeen, Andy? Do they have enough in the tank? We heard Michael asking the question up in commentary there to go in this second period.
Well, I think what has worked for them is having that two up top. I think if they can maybe stretch McGrath a bit more, maybe Morris up to help Sokler, that can hopefully give them a chance, but there may be only one more a chance left, and they'll need to take it to get back in this game. But you can see they are almost dead on their feet. Hopefully another fresh face will maybe come on and help them, you know, but there's still 50 minutes to go, still a big opportunity.
Yeah, set play, you know, deflection, anything, you know, but they are sort of looking like they're running on fumes at the minute.
We were just saying as well moments before how well Aberdeen have been defending in this extra time.
Yeah, they've been excellent. Anything that's coming at the box they've dealt with, especially Gartenmann and MacDonald. The whole back four is sensational, you know, but still 15 minutes to go. One more chance, that's what might all it be, you know, to take it to penalties, or if not, go and win the game.
So there you have it, half-time in this one. Celtic now leading in this tie by 3 goals to 2. Back to the commentary position for the second half of extra time with Michael and Rory.
Well, and there is the change which Aberdeen delayed until that break, when Connor Barron had been really struggling for
that first period of extra time. Ryan Duncan now comes on, but Aberdeen have to pick themselves up off the canvas again. They looked down and out until Esther Sokler scored in the final minute of the 90. Do they have it in them again?
Yeah, you just wonder whether this classic game has got anything else to deliver. But we said it in the 90 minutes when Celtic were on top in that second half, that as long as the game is just the one goal of a deficit, anything can happen. Long throw in here, set piece, defensive error.
It's Gartenmann to take the long throw. Bernardo sends it clear. Now Milne, that one will drift all the way through. And Joe Hart will happily take his time. And you know, for Celtic, in moments like that, they are serial winners. But you need leaders to step up. You need your top players to come into their own, and Matt O'Reilly has come up with a huge moment for his side to put Celtic ahead, and now it's all about seeing out this final period of extra time. Hoilett for Morris.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no doubt that Matt O'Reilly's come up with a big moment, but it's a great goal. It's the movement. Alistair Johnston's starting position is up high on that inside channel, and James Forrest is really wide. Carter-Vickers slides it into him, and all of a sudden they're off and running. A good team goal finished off exceptionally from Matt O'Reilly.
Here he is again, feeding Forrest, the two men that have had the biggest impact on this final for Celtic. It's Forrest, and it's another corner kick as he drives to the byline and knocks it off MacKenzie.
Just the variety of James Forrest's attack. You know, he's driven on the inside, played 1-2s to get in behind the defence. That occasion he's just facing the defender up, going right at him and trying to hit the byline. Not sure whether he's rocked an ankle or whether he's feeling a muscle there, but a wee bit of a concern because he's an influential player.
It's in from O'Reilly. Kelly Roos didn't look ready for that. He's busy organising the defence. It's Bernardo. Palma. There's Scales. Fine pass for Taylor. He knocks it. Hoilett for the corner, or of Morris rather. Palma, Bernardo, Iwata, Palma in with the right foot. Roos looks long. Peter Leven encouraging the Aberdeen players forward to squeeze this game up, make life difficult for Celtic.
I mean, look, he's not got it where he was wanting it to go, but it's the right idea again. They've got to keep trying to play like that.
Idah's in behind here to finish it. Angus MacDonald with the challenge. Out it goes, and corner kick is awarded. It will be looked at by VAR.
It's a great challenge from MacDonald. He's hurt himself in the process, but a wonderful ball. He's wrong side. He manages to get round, and that's a great tackle. It really is from the Aberdeen captain. Perfectly timed.
Forrest for O'Reilly now. Bernardo turns away from Hoilett. Now Scales bypasses Morris.
Taylor for Palma. Palma, no way round Milne. Helps it on though to Taylor, and Idah's there! But the flag goes up. Adam Idah is certainly not sure about that call. It will be looked at.
It was a good finish from Idah, that's for sure. Palma just gets wrapped up, caught, slips it for Taylor. Yeah, he is offside.
I do love the striker's optimism.
Certainty. Good finish from Idah. It doesn't count. Just ahead of the ball. Aberdeen still in it.
MacDonald, heavy touch, but he gets away with it. Hoilett. Aberdeen have committed numbers forward here. Can Hoilett pick out another killer ball? Does find Morris. Now Milne. Oh, some tired legs out there, but Aberdeen need to find one opening. Morris has done well, gets to the byline. Attacked by Hoilett, comes to MacKenzie, gets it on the right, Scales with the block. Oh. In goes Hoilett, down he goes! Aberdeen! Well, no. It is a free kick to Celtic initially.
Oh.
Don Robertson looked to point to the spot there, but
Carter-Vickers is on his knees. He thinks he's given the penalty away. Must have been a free kick before, I'm not sure where, but Carter-Vickers is going to clear it. That's a penalty kick all day long, and Carter-Vickers knows. He's on his knees, desperate. What on earth has it been given for? It's a penalty kick.
Well, this is a huge VAR moment.
I just don't understand what Don Robertson's given. Before, I don't see what's... So, is it Alistair Johnston that's on the ground, is it? Because this is what's been given. For Alistair Johnston's on the ground, and clearly Don Robertson's given a free kick for that, but I just don't know what it was. Because there is no debate about the challenge from Carter-Vickers on Junior Hoilett. The Celtic captain knew that he had committed the foul, but there must have been something beforehand.
But the check is complete. A roar goes up from the Celtic end. I say end, it is about 80% of the stadium.
Well, we've not seen any replays to show the incident beforehand, but the officials are adamant that free kicks beforehand. That, no way. That's what it's been given for. The challenge, that, I'm sorry, that's what they've given it for. The challenge from Junior Hoilett on Alistair Johnston there. I think that is, I've got to say, Rory, I think that is really harsh. Hoilett comes in at the back foot. That's not a free kick. That's unbelievable. That really is. Aberdeen will be quite rightly raging at that decision, I've got to say.
It's very interesting. I don't think that's one that Don Robertson gave immediately in real time. He waited until the collision came between Carter-Vickers and Hoilett.
And also, there's nobody from the Celtic team that's claiming for a free kick there. That's an astonishing decision, it really is.
I suspect, in fact, I don't suspect, I know that is not the last we've heard of that. There's Sokler! Oh, it's inches wide!
What a game. This is absolutely incredible stuff at Hampden.
Well, it's given encouragement from the Aberdeen fans, there's no doubt about that. But how many more opportunities will they get?
You know, we talk about the officials and VAR. The referee's given the free kick in the first instance, which I just think is a poor decision, and VAR haven't changed it. I just think poor from the officials. It's a penalty kick. Aberdeen have missed out on late in extra time here, and everything they've given to the game, I think the officials have let them down on that one.
Into the final 5 minutes of what has been an incredible Scottish Cup semi-final. Morris, it's picked up by Palma. Milne dealt with him well initially. Palma though now threads it through. It's O'Reilly again. Idah! And he misses his big chance. Celtic go quickly. Forrest, James Forrest, it's O'Reilly again. Well, the game is so open. There are surely going to be chances in the final 4 minutes here. Palma, what a touch to get away from Milne. Now Taylor and O'Reilly. And the flag is up.
You know, I'm just thinking back to the incident as well. Why does Don Robertson not just blow his whistle on the foul that he's eventually given? Why let the game continue? It's not an offside. It's not as if okay, let's see how the game, I'm playing advantage here. He's given a free kick to the defending team. I don't understand why he's allowed the game to play on if he felt that was a free kick.
Here goes Paulo Bernardo. Celtic with players racing forward here. Bernardo picks out Idah. Gartenmann gets back. It will be another Celtic corner kick.
End to end. Given everything, all the players here, given everything to the cause for their sides.
Well, I don't think James Forrest is going to see out the full period of extra time. Mike Nawrocki is going to come on for Celtic as they just look to see this one out, to guide themselves to yet another Scottish Cup final.
Well, if he doesn't, it's a huge concern, because he's had a great impact for Celtic, and you can see him coming off. That's such a disappointment, and perhaps it just highlights, and answers the question as to why has he not had more of an impact in terms of game time.
Has he had the main influence out of it? Obviously there was the goal that he scored, but the way that he's changed Celtic's approach to their attacking play.
And just good, simple wing play. Attack the byline, cut inside, mix it up, do it at pace, and have an end product. To me, it's highlighted where Celtic really need to strengthen. They're poor in the wide areas at the moment.
No injury to James Forrest, just a tactical change to get an extra centre-back on the park to try and defend situations like this that Junior Hoilett is going to try and provide for those in red in the middle. It's a great ball in, and Aberdeen have done it again. Once again, a Hoilett cross, and Angus MacDonald, the skipper, rises at the back post. In all the years, 150 years in Scottish Cup history, this is going to go down as one of the all-time greats. Aberdeen 3, Celtic 3, and twice, with just seconds to go in the game, Aberdeen have pulled themselves from the canvas to level it. This one surely now, the only way to separate them surely will be penalties.
An absolute classic from start to finish, Rory. Quite incredible. Brendan Rodgers makes the change to get an extra centre-half on. You can see them there, the three of them in the middle. And he's on side, no question. He's round the back of Scales. bang, back of the net. Hoilett, what a ball, again, to that back post. Quite incredible afternoon here. And it looks like there's going to be more drama as a penalty shootout looms. Sensational game.
Well, Junior Hoilett passed up 2 great chances, but he has created 2 goals with a couple of unbelievable crosses. Angus MacDonald was yellow carded for his celebrations. We're now into...
He'll take that. Especially after the mistake that he made. You know, to give the Celtic the opening to get level 1-1. He's now resurrected Aberdeen's season with that equaliser and potentially taking it to penalties. So I think a yellow card is a good trade-off.
Well, it really has been a stunning contest, and you have to credit both clubs, both sets of players, for what they have put into it. The dedication, the determination.
The substitutions have made a big difference for both sides. You're talking about Forrest, obviously, that came on. Hoilett, Sokler, you know, these guys that have come on for Aberdeen have had a massive impact in the game as well.
Well, that will be an Aberdeen free kick, perhaps. They don't want to let this go to penalty kicks, because one thing you wonder with the substitutions that Aberdeen have made, how many of their regular penalty takers would still be on the park? One there in Jamie McGrath for sure. Apart from that, you would have thought, you know, certainly the likes of Polvara, Miovski, Barron would have probably all taken spot kicks. Clarkson as well, but it's McGrath. Aberdeen are not finished yet. It drops for Morris, but the whistle is blown.
And you know, I said it before, the impact that this can potentially have on Celtic if they're not to see this through, the psychological scars that this could cause.
Here's O'Reilly. Now Idah. He had the ball in the net to make it 4-2 at the time. He looks to the back post. That's way beyond Louis Palma.
You know, it's quite incredible. Nawrocki brought on to try and shore things up for the last few minutes, and the first ball that comes into the box after that, you know, it wasn't his fault, but you're just thinking, you can understand what Brendan Rodgers was trying to do. And the next ball that comes into the box, Peter Leven's men have been able to get and drag themselves level and force the game to what looks like a penalty shootout.
Carter-Vickers wins that above Sokler. In goes Killian Phillips. Ryan Duncan in there. That is Jamie McGrath with a pretty wild challenge on Smoky Iwata there. It is a yellow card for McGrath.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can understand that from Don Robertson, absolutely, but they took a quick free kick there, and Adam Idah was spinning down the channel, and he was in. Dives in on Iwata. It's a free kick, it's a yellow card, absolutely.
Here's Iwata.
Good tackle.
Sokler gets the touch. There is the full-time whistle. Well, these two have been so brilliantly matched. The only way to separate them is going to be by penalty kicks, thanks to Angus MacDonald in the 120th minute, equalising for Aberdeen, tying things up at 3-3. And we head to penalty kicks. The full-time score, Aberdeen 3, Celtic 3, and penalties are next.
What a game we have had here at Hampden Park. 3-3 after extra time, and still no separating Aberdeen and Celtic. High drama indeed. I mean, what a contest it's been by both sets of players coming both teams coming from behind to draw this level again.
It's been like a championship
game.
boxing fight. Yeah, a bit of that as well. Wheel attack, you attack. One team on the ropes, another team on the ropes. It's had everything, Emma. And now we're taking it. You've got to give Aberdeen a huge amount of credit. This is the O'Reilly goal. Brilliant run, brilliant ball from Forrest. Johnston does brilliantly to pull it back. O'Reilly shows great composure and magnificent finish. He's had an outstanding season for Celtic. And you're thinking, that could be it. But, you know, Aberdeen have kept going, they've been gutsy, you know, and they've made Celtic at times look ordinary. And they've missed some chances today, Aberdeen, by the way. And but that's a brilliant goal to put Celtic 3-2 up. And you're thinking from there on, they might see the game out. But they've never been comfortable today. And Aberdeen's, you know, found an Achilles heel with not just the third goal, but the second goal as well. Yeah,
that looping cross to the back post, it's been fruitful for Aberdeen. It's the second, and the way the third goal was scored.
It's a great cross, again by Hoilett. And you know what? Credit to Angus MacDonald. Obviously, mistake for the first one, but tell you what, that feeling of scoring right at the end there would have been sensational, so take my hat off to him. But again, Hoilett cuts back inside, superb cross, but they've not given up all day. They've kept, as Neil said, the amount of punches they've had. Aberdeen keep coming back, showing great character, you know, so.
How much credit does Peter Leven deserve here?
Oh, massive.
You know, tactically as well, he's had to change it.
You know, he brought Sokler on, it changed the game for Aberdeen when they looked dead on their feet. Celtic were rampant. Sokler gets the equaliser, and then he's changed it again. He just went for it towards the end and took the gamble of maybe, you know, Celtic getting some chances just to get back into the game, and that's brave from the manager. But from minute one, I think he's done a magnificent job with the team, and you know, the spirit and the quality at times. So you've got to think about the two that Hoilett missed as well.
Exactly.
And Sokler missed one in the first period of extra time. So they've given Celtic a hell of a game, and Celtic have given them a hell of a game. So it's all in the lap of the gods now, Emma.
It certainly is. What about the penalty that wasn't given right at the end there due to a foul that had been committed onto Alistair Johnston? The boys in the commentary position didn't think that it was a foul necessarily. Would you have been upset, Neil, if you'd been the manager?
Oh yeah, for me it's a penalty.
Here it is.
You know, Hoilett does nothing really. The game plays on. He's not blown the whistle for it. Hoilett then stretches out and Carter-Vickers takes him from behind. And we're all stood here thinking it's a definite penalty. And you can always tell by the reaction of players. No Celtic players asking for a foul there. But on this one, Carter-Vickers, you know, you look at his body language, he knows it's a penalty, and it's a strange decision for me.
Clear 50-50 with Hoilett and Johnston. I can't understand where the foul is. As Neil said, Stonewall penalty. Stonewall.
It wasn't given, and here we are. 3 goals apiece. It's been in regulation and extra time. Roos there, the Aberdeen goalkeeper. He's been in good form so far today. What lies ahead? Let's hand you back up to our commentator, Rory Hamilton.
Well, Idah will be the first man to strike for Celtic. They've headed to the west end of Hampden Park, which is where Aberdeen at least have a presence. Had it gone up the other end, it would have been an entire wall of green and white, but what will face those striking the penalties will look, although it may not sound, to be an even split. So Idah scored twice from the spot against Hibs, but he did miss at Tynecastle. Idah to get us started against Roos, and Idah is successful with his first spot kick.
It's in the back of the net, that's what matters. Goalkeeper goes one way and sticks it in the opposite direction. It's not right in the corner at all, but it doesn't matter. It's the back of the net. Gets Celtic off and running. He's been a good addition for Celtic, Idah. A good alternative option up top. And Jamie McGrath, somebody who has taken a good number of penalty kicks in his career.
He certainly has, Jamie McGrath. But with the noise of the Celtic fans ringing in his ears, he blocks that one out, does exactly what Idah does, and sends Hart the wrong way. Calm and composed from McGrath.
Yeah, this is a really composed penalty kick. He just shuts his foot off in the end and wraps it into the opposite corner.
Luis Palma has missed 2 of his last 4 penalty kicks. Incidentally, this is just the 5th Scottish Cup semi-final that has gone all the way. It's Palma, Celtic's second taker. 6 Roos down, and it's 100% so far.
Well, sometimes when he steps up, it looks like a bit of a stuttering approach, but he's a very, very cool finish there. Opening his foot up and just sliding it into that other corner, looking and waiting to see if the goalkeeper moves anyway.
But it's the skipper for Aberdeen that got us to this stage. It goes underneath Joe Hart. And Angus MacDonald's, it would have been hard in the mouth for him.
It was almost Hart on the ball. Underneath. And you know what? You've got to give Angus MacDonald a lot of credit there. His game has been up and down with big moments. You don't think he would have been a natural penalty kick taker, but because what you're talking about with Sony being off, he's the skipper, he's stepped up and he's found the back of the net, so credit to him.
Matt O'Reilly scored in extra time. That looked to put Celtic into the final at that stage. O'Reilly sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. It's 3 from 3 for Celtic. Esther Sokler next up for Aberdeen.
Well, it's been a lot of good penalty kicks so far, isn't it? Guys that are psyching out the goalkeepers and sending them the wrong way. That was another one. Very, very good finish under huge pressure for these players.
Well, Sokler, who scored in the 90th minute to take it to extra time. Sokler scores down the middle from the Slovenian, and it's all tied up. 3-3 after extra time, 3-3 in penalties, and Paulo Bernardo is next.
Yep, straight down the middle, just gambling that the goalkeeper is going to move.
So Paulo Bernardo, who's been the Benfica loanee. Paulo Bernardo, oh, he squeezes it past Kelly Roos, who got a hand to it. Oh, was that Aberdeen's chance?
Well, that falls into the Angus MacDonald category. It's in the back of the net, but the goalkeeper is ever so close. You can see the anguish on his face there.
He may be injured. He hasn't got up, Kelly Roos.
He's got cramp now as well.
Oh, well, I mean, we thought the drama would have just been about the striking and the saves of the penalty kicks, but now Aberdeen have a real problem with their goalkeeper.
Needs a wee stretch.
If he's just thinking that there wasn't enough drama for Everton to deal with.
Yep. I mean, can't recall something like this ever happening in a penalty shootout. It's just been the most incredible afternoon. The goalkeeper union coming together as well in the most dramatic of occasions.
Well, and what it means is that Ryan Duncan is going to have a long, long wait for all of this to sink in. Well, Kelly Roos, thankfully, is up. And now Ryan Duncan, he'd started just to go back to the centre circle, just to compose himself, retake this walk, but it's been a long, long wait, and Joe Hart might just try to grind the nerves. Pressure on the shoulders of Ryan Duncan.
Far from ideal.
Well, Joe Hart relishing this moment. Duncan! Oh, has it got in? Did Joe Hart get a touch onto the post? The weight was too much for Ryan Duncan. And it's Aberdeen who blink first.
Agonising. for young Duncan, and it was far from ideal. His goalkeeper struggling meant that he had such a long way inside of the post, and then for a split second he's hoping and wondering, is it going to be able to end up in the back of the net? It didn't.
Well, I was wondering why Celtic weren't sending up a player from the halfway line. It's going to be up to Joe Hart to put Celtic into the Scottish Cup final. He'll be retiring at the end of the season. It was his 37th birthday yesterday. Joe Hart! Oh no, he's hit the post! This is quite unbelievable at Hampden Park. Celtic were on the brink of the final. Aberdeen just cannot be put to bed.
Well, I've got to say, I really do wonder about some of the Celtic guys, the outfield players that have allowed Joe Hart to step up and take the 5th penalty. Angus MacDonald was not what you would class as a certain penalty kick taker. He stepped up, he took it. Joe Hart, you wouldn't have said he's somebody that is a cultured player with the ball at his feet either.
Well, Junior Hoilett must score to take this to sudden death. Hoilett tucks it into the corner, 2 assists, plus he nets his penalty, and we are all square again.
I mean, how is it ever going to end? It's just an unbelievable game. Good penalty kick from Hoilett there. It just continues to produce moments of drama.
Alistair Johnston. The Canadian tucks that one away. How calm was that in such a pressured environment?
Right into the bottom corner. The tension is unbearable for so many in here, but for the players, they've got to deal with it.
Well, it's Jack Milne on just his 14th Aberdeen appearance. Milne, no, it's another one that squeezes under the body of Joe Hart.
Peter Leven doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. I guess he's right, it's under him. Well, he can laugh at the moment because they're still very much in it.
Tomoki Iwata for Celtic. It's Iwata. That's a fine penalty.
Really good penalty kick. Really good. I mean, you see penalty kicks like that getting taken, you say, why are you not stepping up in the first 5? Really good. Good composure as well.
And now up to Killian Phillips, on loan from Crystal Palace, spent the first half of the season at Wycombe Wanderers. The Republic of Ireland under-21 international. Phillips is saved by Hart! Celtic are in to another Scottish Cup final. Joe Hart may have missed his spot kick, but he has come up with a big save that sends Celtic in to their 61st Scottish Cup final, and eventually, at last, it brings an end to what has been one of the great spectacles in the history of this competition. A classic semi-final that saw 2 late equalisers for Peter Leven's Aberdeen. The 2 managers cannot believe the day that they've had. The emotions that the players, that the supporters have gone through, how deep they have all had to go to put on that show, and in the end, after a 3-all draw, after 120 minutes of action, it is Celtic who win it 6-5 on penalties. What an afternoon of Scottish Cup drama.
Thank you very much to Michael and to Roy for that commentary, and congratulations to Celtic, commiserations to Aberdeen. What a phenomenal cup tie we have been treated to here at Hampden this afternoon. Absolutely outstanding entertainment from the very first minute through until the very last. Joe Hart there, he didn't convert his own penalty, but he did get that crucial save. Neil, have you caught your breath? What an afternoon.
No, and it's a shame there had to be a loser in this, because it provided so much drama, so much excitement, you know, so many chances, and you know, right at the end the tension was palpable around the stadium. You couldn't take your eyes off it, and that's a semi-final, Emma. You know, I don't see many semi-finals like that, so you know, you got to give credit to both sets of players. They put on a fantastic exhibition today, and it's, you know, great for the Scottish Cup.
You agree with that, Andy? It's a shame there had to be a loser this afternoon.
Absolutely. I thought it was a great game. To be honest, Aberdeen can hold their heads high. I thought they were excellent from minute one. Took many punches, came back each time. Obviously, when it comes down to penalties, you know, anything can happen, but they're extremely unlucky. But I thought they showed, you know, an excellent side of themselves, a real proper Aberdeen team performance today.
And what a day for Peter Leven as well, interim manager at the moment, caretaker manager. We know the new boss will be coming in a matter of months, but he must be very proud of what he saw from his
players. Going through a myriad of emotions, you know what I mean? We were thinking it was a penalty kick away from taking us to the cup final against, you know, the mighty Celtic. And let's get it right, Celtic's record in this competition over the last 20 years is pretty spectacular. They're in another final, but they were pushed all the way. And Peter did a great job, not only with the setup of the team, but you know, his in-game management today was spot on. And you know, they were on their knees, and they just kept going and kept trying to dig out. And that comes from the coach himself. You know, it sums up his personality. Really, I thought he did a spectacular job. But we'll go to bed tonight, and we'll be reliving every minute of that game again, and that penalty shootout.
Joe Hart taking a penalty, didn't quite work out for him.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, goalkeepers are normally brilliant at penalties.
We saw Man City during
I saw Ederson take one. I saw over the years Kevin Pressman, and they practice them all the time, so I wasn't really surprised when he stepped up, but he fluffed it, so I'll have to have a word with him about that.
He made up for it though at the other end by keeping out Aberdeen with that final penalty. But yeah, you know, there's around 8,000 Aberdeen fans made the journey today, you know, and many of them have stayed to not only see the penalties, but to applaud their players off the pitch, which is not always the case with a losing team, but fair play to them today for that. And they're Celtic, you know, Joe Hart and Brendan Rodgers continues his unbelievable record in this competition as a Celtic manager.
Yeah, but you know he's done it by the skin of his teeth today. You know, I don't know, again, you talk about emotions, you know, there'll be huge relief for Brendan, because the game could have been either way, and the penalty shootout then it's in the lap of the gods sometimes. But yeah, his record, you know, sometimes your name's just on it, but they've still got a final to you know, overcome, and they're going to have to defend a little bit better maybe in the final and in the upcoming weeks as well, because they were pushed to the limit by a really gutsy quality Aberdeen side today. You know, they scored 3, could have had another 3, you know, so that'll be something that'll have to be addressed, but not today. They can, you know, get over this now, get a bit of a rest, and you know, look forward to the run-in and then the cup final obviously as well.
That's Joe Hart's little boy in the crowd there, just saluting his father. You know, if we, you know, talk about just the way Celtic did manage to get that across the line. I mean, penalties is a lottery in anybody's day. But you know, from the Aberdeen perspective, to keep going the way they did, to keep digging in despite the changes in personnel, there's surely a lot of promising signs to take forward.